It was one of those evenings when the sky itself seemed to be crying. Heavy rain poured endlessly over the quiet road just outside the city, turning everything into a blur of silver and gray. A white Mercedes rolled to a stop on the roadside, steam rising from under its hood. Inside sat Isabella Grant, one of the most successful CEOs in the city, a woman known for her unshakable poise, her designer suits, and her cold, calculating business mind. She had built an empire with her intelligence and strength, but at that moment, as thunder cracked and rain drummed against the glass, she was just a woman stranded in the middle of nowhere with a broken-down car and no signal on her phone. Cursing softly, she stepped out, her white heels splashing into a puddle. The rain soaked her hair in seconds, and her breath came out in little clouds as she tried to look under the hood, having no clue what she was even staring at. Just then, through the sheets of rain, she noticed a small figure walking toward her, barefoot, drenched, his thin shirt clinging to his frame. It was a boy, maybe 10 or 11, with messy blonde hair and grease stains all over his clothes. "Ma'am, do you need help?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly from the cold but filled with sincerity. Isabella looked at him in disbelief. What could this tiny, soaked child possibly do? "It's fine," she said, forcing a polite smile. "I'll wait for a tow truck." But the boy shook his head. "No tow truck will come here in this storm, ma'am. My father's a mechanic. I can try to fix it." There was something in his eyes, a kind of confidence that didn't belong to someone his age. Against her better judgment, Isabella nodded, and the boy rushed under the open hood, his little hands moving quickly, with focus and familiarity. Rain ran down his arms, and every few seconds he wiped his forehead with his sleeve. Isabella stood silently beside him, holding an umbrella over his small figure, unable to stop herself from watching in awe. The rain poured harder, and soon she was completely drenched, but the boy didn't stop. "What's your name?" she asked softly. "Liam," he replied without looking up. "My dad's garage is nearby, but he's sick, so I take care of most of the work now." Isabella's chest tightened. A boy this young, working in the rain, fixing cars while she sat in her glass office making millions, it didn't seem fair. "Do you go to school?" she asked. Liam hesitated. "Sometimes," he said, tightening a bolt. "I want to be an engineer someday, so I study whenever I can." His words cut through the storm like lightning. Here was a child who had every reason to give up, yet he was dreaming big, working hard, and smiling through it. After nearly 20 minutes, the car engine roared back to life. Liam jumped back, wiping his dirty hands on his wet shirt. "It should work now, ma'am," he said proudly, his eyes lighting up. Isabella stared at the boy, speechless. "How much do I owe you?" she asked, reaching for her purse. But the boy shook his head. "You don't owe me anything. My dad says helping people is more important than money." Something inside her broke. A tear mixed with the raindrops on her face. "At least let me give you a ride home," she insisted. He smiled shyly. "It's okay, I live just down that way." As he turned to walk off into the rain, Isabella's heart ached in a way it hadn't in years. She watched the small figure disappear into the storm, his spirit shining brighter than any city light. As she drove off, she couldn't stop thinking about him, the boy who had nothing but gave everything. That night, as she sat in her luxurious apartment overlooking the skyline, Isabella couldn't shake his face from her mind. She thought of his determination, his dreams, and his honesty. She realized that in all her success, she had forgotten what it meant to struggle, to dream against the odds. Something in her changed that night. She promised herself she would find him again. What she didn't know was that this encounter, born in a storm, would soon alter both their lives in ways neither could imagine.